So the PDP embroiled in a maelstrom of intrigue, its once majestic edifice now tottering on the precipice of implosion. The party's national headquarters, Wadata Plaza, once a symbol of political grandeur, has been reduced to a battleground, with rival factions clashing in a spectacle of unbridled rancor. The perfidious winds of discord have swept through the party, leaving in their wake a trail of expelled dignitaries, defecting governors, and a leadership dispute that threatens to consume the very heart, soul, and fabric of the party. The Ibadan convention, meant to be a triumphant affirmation of the PDP's vitality, has instead become a pyre upon which the hopes and dreams of its members are being slowly immolated. And today, in full public view, the opposing titans locked horns in a struggle for supremacy, their respective claims to the throne as contentious as they are compelling. The air was thick with tension, heavy with the scent of betrayal. Take a look at how it unfolded earlier in the day.
Oh my God. As I speak to you now, they're also asking us to make our way out. So it's been like this since the showdown began. It's a lot of drama. The weekend camp is not giving up. And Shane Makinde and Governor Bala, along with the newly elected NWC and the newly elected chairman of the party, is also not leaving this place.
It's never been done before. I think America is watching this.
And that's a snapshot of what happened earlier today at Wadata Plaza, the PDP's national headquarters here in Abuja. And of course, our ICE correspondent Mary Chinder was amongst those who were severely tear-gassed at that headquarters earlier today. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the Secretary of the PDP's National Convention Organizing Committee, High Chief Senator Ben Obi, a former PDP vice presidential candidate and former special advisor on inter-party affairs to the President of Nigeria, and currently Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council of the American University in Yola. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much, Charles, for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
Lucky for you, you weren't at that brawl earlier today.
No, I missed it. I didn't get the information early enough, and I was also attending a board meeting. You know, I came back last night, and so I was not there.
But you were, of course, the secretary of the organizing committee that put together that convention in Ibadan. So you are in the thick of it, let's put it that way. Correct. What do you make of what happened today at the PDP's headquarters here in Abuja, and the fact that things degenerated to that level of clashes and tear gas being fired by the police?
Well, it's very unfortunate, but let's put the record straight. The outgone National Working Committee was an 18-man NWC, National Working Committee. The chairman, Ambassador Damagun, had with him 13 members of the National Working Committee, as against 4. Like they say in politics, let the minority have its say and the majority have its way. 14 as against 4. Talking about the convention was properly and duly constituted. The NEC, at its 102nd NEC meeting, 25th of August, informed INEC, which has a mandatory 21 days to be informed of this convention. INEC acknowledged. So, the truth of the matter, as a party manager myself, INEC was duly informed, the Nigerian police duly informed, Department of State Security duly informed. The police and the DSS participated. INEC in their Electoral Act, they are not, it is not mandatory. But what is mandatory is that you must give them the 21 days notice, which we did. So you can see that the convention was properly and duly constituted.
Right.
So, moving forward, what happened today is in fact not helping matters with the Nigerian government, particularly with the president. You have a minister of the federal government. Only last week had issues with the military. Now again, the same thing is happening. We have to be very careful. And I am worried because I know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu very, very well. I made him a chief in Oka, where I come from. He's the Omenife of Oka. I made him a chief. So if we are saying that there's fire on the mountain, and the fire keeps building, and you know where it's coming from, and you as the commander-in-chief, you are saying nothing to it, then there's something going wrong, you know. So, but I believe that the PDP has decided to say, oh, you know something, we just have to rescue this party. Nigerians have been very worried that the PDP allowed so much indiscipline, nobody hears. So much. What happened in Ibadan on Saturday into Sunday morning should have in fact happened over 1.5 years ago.
Indeed. But just bringing it back to the present, not you in particular, but the party leadership that emerged from the Ibadan convention must have known what happened today was going to happen. I mean, the handwriting was on the wall, yes, because even the Turaki leadership went to the police last night to warn that things were about to fall apart.
Yes, I mean, you see, Charles, the attempt at not even allowing us to hold the convention, they themselves saw it coming. Look, at the convention in Ibadan, because of the controversies surrounding the court rulings and judgments, I moved a motion as secretary of the committee, secretary of the convention organizing committee, and secretary of the electoral committee. I moved a motion asking the delegates, do we continue with the elective convention or not? That motion was seconded and unanimously adopted.
And that includes all the different chapters across the country.
The entire delegates. 3,131. 2,745 delegates were accredited. And it was a unanimous decision. Charles, let it be known, convention of any political party is the highest authority of that party. And once a decision is taken there, it is final. You cannot compare a convention of a political party and National Executive Committee meeting. It's a joke.
And what is the current situation right now? Because I imagine that inaugural NWC meeting that the Turaki leadership was trying to hold didn't take place after all today.
Well, you know, they met with the police commissioner, all right? Took control of the office, addressed the press, and postponed the meeting. And the meeting will hold tomorrow. What is important is that, look, the PDP has decided to move on. And there is no stopping the party. The governors who are members of the party today are also very decided that the party has to move on.
But you have to see it from the point of view of the public, and we are representatives of the public. I mean, it seems like things are sliding into a sort of heated irrationality where governors, former governors, serving ministers are lunging at each other over control of the party secretariat. I mean, were you one of those who was expelled by the Wike faction?
Well, I don't even know, but I wouldn't even be surprised that I am included in the expulsion list, but that's absolutely, for me, it is a non-starter. I mean, these are people that a convention has expelled, and you come to a so-called National Executive Committee meeting, you say, who is convening that? Who? You know, I want to say this, quite honestly. There must be a limit to this rascality. We can't continue this way.
But is there another way? I mean, is there any discussion at all or any steps being considered to reunite the PDP and address the concerns, not so much of the people that you've expelled, but some of the governors and members who have distanced themselves from your particular faction, if you like?
Again, I am not surprised about that. Governors are jumping boat every day. The reason for that is obvious. That's why I said here that I know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu very, very well. And I'm only advising that there is a time when he has to act as commander-in-chief. The country has been overwhelmed by the state of insecurity. And it is building and growing by the day. Here we are. President Trump of America is threatening to invade the country. The Congress is going to discuss Nigeria tomorrow or next tomorrow. United Nations, they are discussing Nigeria. We have to ask ourselves what really is going on. You can't not have a one-party state. Not in Nigeria. Not in Nigeria.
But while all this is bubbling on at the edges, the public doesn't quite know which faction of the PDP to bet on. I mean, you're still at the very early stages of this, let me call it PDP revolution.
No.
I mean, we know it is a revolution of sorts, but we don't know who the winners are going to be and which way the political gravity will shift when that bubble bursts. I mean, there are just too many, there are just too many irrational elements, and even though I'm sure you hope that the shift will go your way, but it could go anyway, couldn't it?
No.
From the point of view of the public.
Let's look at it from this perspective. The public is aware of where the PDP problem is coming from. First and foremost. So the issue of the PDP is now a matter before the public domain. As it stands, the PDP does not have a cohabitation arrangement with the APC. But we have a man who is supposed to be a member of the PDP as minister in the APC government. There is no cohabitation arrangement between the PDP and the APC. So Nigerians are very aware of that. And Nigerians have been expecting what is happening now to have happened long before now. So all I'm saying is that as long as the leadership of the PDP remains firm and consistent, the Nigerian public will understand who the true leaders of the PDP are.
But talking about leadership, would it be fair to say that until the courts decide, no one knows who has the legitimate authority to lead the PDP? And for all intents and purposes, the PDP is in limbo at the moment. Because, I mean, there are court cases pending.
Well, we know that you have the Federal High Court, you have the State High Courts, you have the Court of Appeal, you have the Supreme Court, which is the apex. And the judgment of the Supreme Court is very clear about how political parties should be run. They've said it very clearly. Things that are internal affairs of the party don't go there. Don't go there. Like I said, 18-man working committee, 14 on one side. The 14 is not quarreling with the 4. You can make your complaints, do whatever you want to do, but fine, the 14 remains the majority. And that's how we went about convening this convention. A resolution of the neck. And those who are supposed to be informed were duly informed accordingly.
Well, I mean, Mr. Turaki, who's the ostensible chairman of the PDP, has appealed to President Trump, warning that what is at stake in this country is not just persecution of Christians, but that this country's democracy is at stake. I mean, how much does that raise the stakes, if you like, for President Tinubu and indeed for the opposition? And what message does that send to this country's international partners?
Well, that's why, you see, that's why I said that I am advising my good friend, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the President and Commander-in-Chief. There is a time when you have to draw the line and say to yourself, enough is enough. Because there is a saying in my place that you will not be in the swimming pool and you complain that you have soap in your eyes. You are in charge. Things are going wrong every day.
But you have to wonder, High Chief, that if Mr. Turaki, who was elected the new chairman of the PDP at that, let me put it this way, disputed Ibadan convention, does not, I mean, if he does not have a plan to address the party's internal conflicts and strengthen governance structures, other than calling on President Trump to come from America and save the PDP and by extension Nigeria, you have to wonder why he became chairman in the first place.
Well, that's part of the agenda. You have to alert the international community. Let them know that democracy is being threatened. That's what Kabi Turaki SAN did this morning, that democracy is being threatened, and it's coming from the opposition. It's coming from the opposition, and it must be taken seriously. And I think that's what the president and commander-in-chief must look into as quickly as possible.
So your contention is that you're struck by the fact that President Tinubu is not calling Nyesom Wike to order. And some would argue that Mr. Wike's actions, you would argue, are bringing this country's democracy and his association with President Tinubu into disrepute. That's your argument.
Yes, that's what exactly it is. That's what exactly it is. You know, and I think we cannot just continue in this trajectory. It is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. PDP has been in government for 16 years. We never saw anything near this. President Jonathan, they went, demonstrated, did everything against him. He did not lift his finger. I was in his government. I was special advisor to him.
Indeed.
He did not lift finger against anybody. He allowed democracy to thrive.
And in that regard, you are a very experienced and highly respected politician and public figure. Is there perhaps a lesson in what has happened to the PDP for the APC? Would you advise them to remember that the laws of political gravity still apply to them as it did to the PDP in 2015, and that what looks to be a small rift could become emblematic of a bigger crisis that's rumbling within?
All I can say to this question is I hope and pray that APC can even call a NEC meeting, go ahead and do a convention with all the governors that have now joined them. Let them show democracy in action. It's not doable because, you know, this is a group of people, a congregation of strange bedfellows.
Well, even to be, I mean, I don't take it sides, but I mean, if you listen to Senator Aline Dume just speaking recently, I mean, he said that there are so many people packed into the PDP, they're not quite sure what to do with them. But I mean, let's focus on the PDP. We've got literally 2 minutes left of this very interesting conversation. The PDP clearly hurtling, some would say, towards the abyss, because it doesn't matter how much you want to wish it. I mean, there is conflict. One cannot help but wonder whether it'll emerge from what somebody described as this crucible of chaos. You know, whether it'll come out phoenix-like, reborn and rejuvenated, or whether it'll succumb to the weight of its own internal contradictions and become a sort of cautionary tale, perhaps of a party that forgot the virtues of unity and cohesion.
No, you see, when you go back to the vision of the founding fathers, they call it People's Democratic Party. The party is for the people. And that is what, hopefully, this leadership will do. And he said that much in his acceptance speech, that they will return the party to the people. And once you do that, Charles, as I speak to you, go to any nook and cranny in this country, you will find a PDP office, functional PDP office, everywhere in this country. The PDP, since 1999, remains the only party that has not changed its name. APP did to ANPP, AD to AC to ACN, and finally to APC. There were 3 parties that were registered in 1998.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything, I mean, about what is happening in the PDP today. Even if you maintain your name, I mean, you're imploding.
What I'm saying to you is that membership of the People's Democratic Party is still very much intact.
Right.
Governors leave, but down the grassroots, the members still remain.
Okay. Well, as to what will happen next, time will tell, won't it?
Well, we're all watching. And
High Chief, I want to thank you very much indeed, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. High Chief Senator Ben Obi is the Secretary of the PDP's National Convention Organizing Committee, a former PDP vice presidential candidate and former special advisor on inter-party affairs to the President of Nigeria, and currently Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council of the American University in Yola. Thank you very much indeed.
my pleasure.